Alaikum, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Assalatu Wassalamu ala Rasul Kareem. Welcome, brothers and sisters. After a short break, we're back. And before I introduce the others, I have almost forgotten how the show starts. We have to hear Sheikh Ahmed Amir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين قل أغير الله أبغي ربا وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ثم إلى ربكم مرجعكم فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون وهو الذي جعلكم خلائف الأرض ورفع بعضكم فوق بعض درجات ليبلوكم فيما آتاكم إن ربك سريع العقاب وإنه لغفور رحيم صدق الله العظيم
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Assalatu Wassalamu ala Rasul Kareem. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to EasyTalk, I'm Azad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Abul Kalam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and I'm Abdul Mia.
Welcome, dear listeners and viewers, whichever way you're interacting with us. First thing, I suppose we start off with an apology. I think we missed 2-3 weeks for, I don't know, what excuse can we give? Remember, everyone's watching and Allah is watching most. Should we just say technical issues?
Eid break. I think it was an extended Eid break.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we apologize for not being on air, but there were genuine reasons. And alhamdulillah, inshallah, we've managed to get back together. So, brothers and sisters, have you missed us? Do message, put your messages in. We aren't going to be taking any calls today because there's some problems with Facebook, with streaming and everything else as well. So comments is the only way. And tell us what you've been up to and if there's anything in particular you want us to talk about. So one thing we want to talk about is cowboy builders.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm legally unable to discuss the matter, actually.
Well,
That's it.
well, what's that mean, Kalam? Is something gone wrong in your building?
All I'm saying is, yeah, if you are going to do an extension, if you're going to do a loft conversion, if you're going to do a back house, if you're going to do a porch, make sure you get good quotes. Don't just go for the Muslim guy who seems like he's practicing, he's got a beard and has done 1 or 2 jobs that he's put up on Facebook. Actually do the research, because when it comes to like work, dunyawi work, you can hire a non-Muslim if they're good at the job that they do. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ, his guide when he was making the hijrah wasn't Muslim. It's about the excellence of their profession. It's about the trustworthiness. It's about their uprightness in terms of, like, the profession, and not if they've got a beard and if they're named Ahmed or Muhammad or Ali Builders or anything like that.
But Kalam, I was going to say, but do you think that the Muslim community just gets Muslim people to do their job? I mean,
Look, I think we've got a soft spot for Muslims and for each other.
No, we should. I think that's a good thing to do, and that's not a problem. But the point Kalam makes is they have to be fit for purpose. Okay, so it's not just about builders; it could be anything. If people aren't professional, if they ain't skilled, if they can't do the job, then we shouldn't do that. Then we're asking for trouble, aren't we? I mean, right, okay. I know. I do a lot of DIY. Actually, I've still got some paint in my hand, so I'm finishing off some rooms. So, Kalam, if you need some, paint work done, decoration done, I'm the guy you need to come to, bro. And I'll put some pictures on Facebook for you, and you'll see.
Like I said, brother, if I don't want a cowboy, I definitely don't want a caveman.
Well, you know what I mean.
Excuse me, my cave paintings are worth billions.
All right, listen. Yeah, but what about those of us who ain't got a clue about building? How do we assess who's a good builder? How do you know? I mean, they're going to come and say
recommendations.
You got to see their job, innit? And they have to give you a quote on a piece of paper rather than the back of a fag pack or like a WhatsApp here. I'll do your garden, it's gonna cost me 15k. I'll give you the loft, it's gonna cost you 30k. No, what do you mean by the loft? What size bricks? What all of that, the details.
Very important. So Kalam learned something very useful the hard way, but we don't really want to talk about builders all throughout. It has been 3 weeks. There's lots of things been happening. I think the talk at the moment is, this kind of pending second lockdown, and also government communication. It has not improved. So from Monday, apparently you can't go out and mix more than with 6 people, but you can still go to the pub, you can still go to school, you can still go to work, you could do all of the other things. Because why is the government doing this, Kalam? Do you know?
No, I don't. No. Because the number of deaths in the ethnic minority and working class isn't high enough to meet their satisfaction.
That could be one reason. The other reason could be that actually the numbers of infections are going up.
Yeah.
The R rate has gone up. It's 1 plus something now.
Yeah, it's gone up, but you know, do you think that 6 weeks of eat out and help out has had any contribution to this?
No, I don't think so, because
Do you
I think
remember?
that
Sorry,
was
guys, do you
a good idea.
remember?
You know, I mean, everyone went out and queued up and ate. You know, I mean, it was like the world was normal again. I'm sure
It
people went
wasn't
out.
even normal. I've never seen restaurants that busy, bro.
There's so much to talk about. Look, before we go to the eat out thing, do you remember when we did when in one of our earlier shows we played the clip of Boris Johnson? Do you remember that clip where he said, "Take public transport, but don't take public transport. Go to work. If you can't go to work, work from home, but don't work from home and take." You know, that is exactly what his policy has been. The government's policy has been U-turn, so many U-turns that it's become a roundabout. They're not going nowhere. You
It's a
know,
merry-go-round, yeah.
and unfortunately, you know, this is they've not found a there's no cure to the virus. People are still falling ill, but interestingly, not many people are dying anymore. You know, the number of people.
I think the death rate has come down. I think the death rate. So what some people are saying, whilst the infection rates are going up, there's two things. One is it's a lot younger people that are getting it, and it's a lot more milder. Even though some people are still getting the more severe cases of it. So yeah, inshallah, I think, look, you know, it's one of those things, like there is no cure for cold or the flu. Even though you can have a flu vaccine, it actually isn't a cure. It's just protects you from the flu that happened last year. But obviously, everyone knows the flu mutates all the time. So I think, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say this out exactly as I saw it, but there was a meme going round which said the government, basically it says the government says something and then the public, they just basically do it. You know, the government says jump, the public say high, how high. And I think whilst it's all right for us to take the mickey out of Boris Johnson and everything else, you know, we should really be taking the mickey out of the people that follow these stupid nonsense things, because, you know, where is the common sense from people? Like, no matter what the government says, right? You know, eat out, help out. Why are people like queuing up? I mean, you are living with someone that is vulnerable. You yourself are vulnerable. Why would you go out and mingle and queue up and basically break every single logical kind of law or understanding about pandemics and how epidemics spread and how viruses spread? Why would you do that? Because you're going to get 50% off your bill. It's like because you've not actually eaten so much, you know, ever in a restaurant before. And I know some people say like, oh, it's a good idea is to help the businesses back onto their feet and everything else. Yeah, it is a good idea. But most of the businesses, they did not follow the strict guidelines that are supposed to be there. So, for example, if you look at the queuing, there wasn't socially distanced queuing going on. People were just, and people were supposed to sit in a bubble. They weren't sitting in a bubble. People were sitting wherever they like. Yeah, the tables were cramped. All of so many different things. So when you see all of that stuff happening, and then the public actually, they don't care, they turn a blind eye and they do it, you can't blame the government. You can't blame Boris.
Well, you know, I mean, it's herd immunity, isn't it? That's all it is. I mean, end of the day, the first policy was herd immunity, and all of it now is just a circus, basically. So, I mean, Kalam is fantastic when he copies Boris Johnson's, you know, like the classical dialect. I think that's going to be a hit of this century now, yeah. But you know, it is true. You know, on 1 minute people got to like follow certain rules, and another minute, you know, we're trying to push the economy. How we're doing that, it you know, shows and proves that, you know, a lot of people, if you just allow an opportunity to come out, people will exploit it, and they will take the opportunity. They'll totally forget that basically there is some kind of pandemic going on. And I think at the moment,
I think people will, you know, like they release papers 70, 80 years down the line when everybody who was around at the time are dead and gone and nobody can be held to account. I think, you know, our grandchildren will receive papers of policies internationally where they actually wanted to, because they knew they're not going to find an antidote or a vaccine or a virus, a cure. They needed to achieve herd immunity. They needed enough of the population to get the virus at some degree. They needed to try and control the level of the virus by getting people to observe social distancing, wearing masks, washing hands, so that the virus spreads, but not to the intensity or volume as if people were allowed to just move freely. And I think that's what's happened, because they know they can't stop it in any other way except for herd immunity. But if they admit that, if they acknowledge that, what they're acknowledging is we are going to accept a certain number of deaths in our community. They can never say that. So that's why what they're saying is, social distancing or the virus has come down R level. What is this R level or whatever it is? It's just a figure they've picked out of their, there's no science behind this R level.
No. Let's not go. There is a science behind the infection rate. There is a formula, but it's not. Yeah, but your point is
the narrative. All right. Yeah, I was being flippant, but the narrative behind the infection rate. Initially, at the beginning, they were saying we have to stay beneath 1. There is, getting close to 1, becoming 0.9. This is dangerous. This is bad. Now it's like, oh, we're just about 1. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I think the handling is been the big issue from outset, and the communication. And it's about giving. Look, at the end of the day, it is from Allah, and the cure is going to come from Allah, and we can deal with it. But the way it's been handled and milked, and there was profiteering going on. I'm sure you've read how many contracts have been given out to Boris Johnson and his friends. Like millions of pounds have been paid to companies, and they have not even delivered anything. Do you get it? The test and trace is another scandal. So basically, this tragedy, a pandemic, was used to make money, and I think these are the real issues here. And when you have a government that is blatantly doing all of this stuff, and the public that blatantly allows it and accepts it, then we deserve the leaders we have. Anyway, let's not stay on this for too long.
Yeah, no. Are you aware that was it a couple of days ago in the newspapers that they highlighted that the universities are going to be the hub for actually spreading coronavirus and that? Yeah, and I managed to kind of like read some of the articles and that, and it's true. People are saying a lot of the students are actually in the universities. It's all kind of normal with all the activities that are going on over there. I mean, I think they're in a catch-2 situation. On one side, they want to improve the economy and safeguard the economy, and on the other side, they want to save people's lives as well. It's just not marrying. It's basically
Abdul, can I just say the economy is an imaginary thing. It's not real. It's a construct.
Red herring.
It's a construct. No. I'm saying, what is economy? Economy is a construct. It's to keep the sheep in line. That's what it is. Oh, this note is valued at £5. This note is valued at 10. It's arbitrary setting by people in power. And in normal circumstances, in good times, we accept that because it's beneficial for society. It creates a system where people get along. People know what to expect, and so on and so forth. But when you're in an emergency crisis situation, a government can lift the economy if it wants. It can suspend the valuation of currency if it wants. It can give out from the resources that it controls if it wants. It doesn't want to do that. Why? Sorry, let me just finish up. It doesn't want to do that because even in this time of crisis, these people who are leading our world, they still have the dunya in their minds and their hearts. They
Not
still want
dunya, they're their own friends.
Their friends.
Like what you said, look, the government is spent some money in furlough, right? But when the banks through their greediness, destroyed themselves, okay? The government bailed the banks out to the tunes of billions and billions of pounds, right? It can do that. It found the money, there was no issue. And now, just to help the ordinary person, like you said, it doesn't want to do that. It's coming up with nonsense like ETA and help out and economy and all of this nonsense. Anyway, let's move the conversation on because we've got only an hour. So there's a couple of new things, and I think Ali has already mentioned it. I wanted to bring up a couple of things. The first is about these 50 miles of bus lanes.
Yeah.
So let's take a vote. Who thinks is a good idea?
Brilliant idea.
Okay, so it's 2-1. Abdul.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
You know what? I don't know what's happening with the bus lane. I've got to find out what's happening with the bus lane.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, so basically, Sadiq Khan has declared 50 miles worth of roads in London, 24/7, basically bus lanes. Yeah, so you cannot go into them at any time. So, for example, in Tower Hamlets, the roads that will be 24/7 bus lanes will be Whitechapel Road, Commercial Road, I think Burdett Road, and what's that? Manchester Road. What's it called? Manchester Road, isn't it? Isle of Dogs.
What about Cambridge Road?
Westbury Road. That's it. Yeah. That's the only 4 roads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Tower Hamlets, but then in other boroughs, there's going to be some others as well. So it's I've seen a lot of discussions, but to be honest, those people who are against it, they've not come out with a good reason. The traffic is the traffic. You're not going to be able to do much with the traffic. At the moment, the bus lanes in, say, for example, Whitechapel is from I think 7 in the morning to 10, and then 4 to 7. So you have a period during the day where you can use it, but it's not really that busy during that time anyway, right? It's not rush hour, so it's not really going to affect it. But it's a good idea to help the transport system move. But what the only downside I see is it's becoming a money-making scheme for transport for London, whilst at the same time it's not reducing the fares, right? If you want to encourage, I'm all for public transport, so people don't, use cars and everything else too much. But you got to make it affordable. At the moment, a simple bus journey is like £2. You know what I mean? Just from one place to another, it's £2. Before you know it, you're spending £4 to £5 a day on travel. That's a lot of money. Whereas if you use your car, it's not going to cost you that much. So I think this is my only issue, that at the moment transport is too expensive.
No, but I think Sadiq Khan is being forced to do this as well. I think because he has to bail out TfL, the COVID costs, all of that. And I think the government is putting him in a position where he doesn't have much space to maneuver, because it's it seems as if he is doing everything he can not to get voted back in again. Extend the congestion charge, extend the bus lanes, increase the fares and all of that. He's doing everything that's very, very unpopular to people in London, apart from a few minority like environmentalists and whatnot. I think personally, I think maybe some of these calls he's kind of forced, because he London is in debt and it needs to pay back.
Yeah, but I think look, there's a reason for, you either have a profit-making capitalist institution like transport, like buses and everything else, or it's actually for the public service, to help people move around and help society, as it were, especially those that are less well off. It's one or the other. You can't try to do both. Is a result of this, So you have, when it was nationalized, there was no problems. The fares were kept low because making money wasn't the objective. But someone believed in privatization. They privatized it, and now you're paying ridiculous amount of money. The government still has to invest in it, and the infrastructure hasn't improved at all. Okay, so it's just it's nonsensical. So I think whilst fine, you need to get some money in. I don't agree with the amount it costs. I just don't agree with it at all.
But I've got bigger beef with him.
Yeah.
My beef with him now is he had the opportunity quite recently to actually support a bill. It's a symbolic bill to actually withdraw the twinning with what's the Chinese capital?
Beijing.
Beijing, because of human rights abuse in regards to the Uyghur Muslims and that. Him and his fellow colleagues have actually declined and kind of not voted on that. It would have been a fantastic opportunity to send a signal from London in withdrawing that twinning process. An opportunity came about where something practically can be done, and he fudged that up as well. It was in his power to do so, but they decided they're going to vote against it. But I've lost all my confidence in him totally. You know what? The amount of people who are upset with him, parking, congestion, everything. I'm not sure, but I don't see any credible candidates there then either.
Yeah, parking. Go on, Kalam.
No, I was gonna say, look, on the Uyghur Muslim thing, our fellow colleague in broadcasting, the inimitable presenter, broadcaster, Akhi Habibi Majid Nawaz, Hafidhullah. He's on the side of the he's on the side of the Uyghur Muslims, and he gave this very heartfelt apology, not even an apology or acknowledgement of his past mistakes, just like flowery words.
Yeah, but he's not back to normal now. You do know that, Kalam.
Right, listen. Brother Azad, I want to be on now, yeah? Why is it every time we talk about Uyghur Muslim, Brother Abu Kalam brings in Majid Nawaz?
No, because look, man, he's taking it to the mainstream, brother. He's on a mainstream platform, primetime platform, and he's with the people of the Uyghur Muslims, against the oppression and the injustice that they're facing. And you know what?
Nothing to do with the fact that his bosses, like the Henry Jackson Society and others, have an issue with China at the moment, and that's the new target. Nothing to do with that, of course. He's just doing it out of the goodness of his heart. If you believe that, then you can believe the pig that is flying right outside your window right now. Run to your window and see it.
There it goes. There it goes. No. Behind my flippant comment, all I wanted to bring to people's attention is: did you see how many? When you said about Muslims, and I said we've got a soft spot. We do. Majid Nawaz, for all his sins, he's got a Muslim name in it, at least. So people want him to become good again. He puts a post on Facebook, I love you and Akhi, and
but look, I've got a grudge against you, right? You keep on grassing him up for why you. I mean, he's trying his best to be undercover as much as possible, and you always kind of grass him up. Yeah, that's not really good.
It's not grassing him up. It's just Kalam's got a new torchlight, and he's just shining on all the bugs and beetles and all the nastiness. Listen, Ethan Hunt did see the pig. I told you.
Okay, Shahid, that is such a sad day for the Palestinian people. These Arab unelected leaders continue to betray and be unjust. Tariq Rahman is saying probably, what's he saying? He's saying probably it's not your topic today. What do you think about the new congestion charge price? Of course it's our topic. Whatever you want us to talk about, we should talk about the Palestinian people, innit?
Yeah. The congestion charge price, I mean, what is it now? 15?
15.
£15. I mean, I don't pay it anymore. Alhamdulillah. I don't have to pay it anymore. Nah.
Well, listen, what's happening? It's not been enforced already, is it? Are we,
No, £15. It's been that for a while.
So, yeah, but that's, if you're on the Broomhouse side, isn't it? If you're this side of Brick Lane, you don't have to pay.
No. He's not expanding it.
It's going to be expanded in 2 years' time.
It's in time. Yeah, it's up to 10 o'clock at night, and it's now 7 days a week.
7 days a week, yeah.
It's again, it's a policy. Like, look, Sadiq Khan's had enough. Sadiq Khan's thinking, look, man, this mayoral business ain't what it's meant to be. I want to go back becoming a barrister or something. That's what he wants.
No. He's following Boris, man. You see, Boris did 2 terms of mayor and then became prime minister. He's going to do the same thing. Yeah. I'm telling you, people, you heard this here first, okay? Sadiq Khan is going to become the leader of the Labour Party, and in the next general election, he's going to win the election and is going to become Britain's first Pakistani son of a bus driver prime minister.
Oh, thank God you said son of a bus driver, because that was quite close. Look, again, because that policy, the Uber drivers, the delivery men, Deliveroo, what do you call Amazon delivery guys? they're not going to be able to go in. One of my mate lives in the zone. Yeah, you'll probably know him, Scout's brother. Yeah, big shout out to Abdul Mukit. But he said to me, nobody comes to visit my elderly mum anymore. Who's going to be bothered? They have to pay 15 quid to get in. And this is the consequence of these kind of policies. There are families, there are isolated people, there are people who need certain support that won't have access to it, and they'll go under the radar because people are going to make those economical choices. Can I afford the 15 quid to go and visit my elderly cousin, or whose mental well-being perhaps is hanging on the fact that family would come and visit them? And now, because of the congestion charge and the changes, people aren't going to visit them. So these are the consequences.
Yeah, but I think, look, it's a bit. I'm sorry. Whilst I know that, brother, and the case that might be the case, but it's not true to say that's affecting most people. It doesn't affect most people. I think, look, we're actually got to a stage where we're destroying our planet to a point where it's just going to be unlivable. And that's why you got Extinction Rebellion, all of this stuff going on as well. The environment is quite important, but it's a half-hearted attempt. Okay, so they're trying to cut down on CO2 emission, get rid of diesel, purify this, that, and the other. It's like, but we still need cars and manufacturing and everything else. At the same time, we don't want you to use cars and everything else. So we're going to put congestion charge to kind of persuade you not to do it. But at the same time, we're not going to give you good public transport system. And if we do give the rubbish public transport system that we have, we're going to charge you an arm and a leg for it. So you don't want to use it. So it's like, people, they don't know where to go. There's no actual sane leadership in any of this. And that is the problem. And I think Sadiq Khan is too low in the pecking order to actually do anything about it. He may be in charge of London transport, but he hasn't got, I don't think he's got the kind of bravery and the courage. And two, I don't think he can push it through. But if someone actually sat down and actually thought this through properly, because look, if you provided an affordable public transport infrastructure, why wouldn't that brother whose mother nobody is visiting anymore, why wouldn't they use the bus or the train? They would. But the reason they don't use it is like 4 of them going to come, it's going to be £25. It's going to be a £30 trip. So this is the problem.
Kalam, if I have to, if I've got relatives in the congested charge area and I have to take things for them here. So imagine my mum lives in the congested charge area. Can you hear me?
No, I can see myself on the screen. Are my ears really, really big?
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
They look bigger because you cut your hair.
Can it be a poll? Is the Max ears massive?
Yes,
yeah. It is. These are big ears, man.
Your glasses are big as well. Yeah,
but that's all right. That's okay. I can talk, but these ears are massive. You know what? I should become the grandmother for Little Red Riding Hood, innit? Where she comes in and she goes, "Oh, Granny, what big ears you have! I'll be all the better to hear you." They're big. They're so big, mashallah. Look, now, when you go further back, are they smaller? Whoa, they're so big, mashallah. Sorry, Abdul, but you were going to say something. I think you should do a poll. Has Max ears grown bigger since the break?
No, we're not going to do a poll, bruv, on your ears. Okay, just read some messages.
Yeah, so loads of messages. Okay, so that I've read already. If somebody wanted to talk about bus lanes in Badet Road, we've spoken about.
We've done all of that. Go after Ethan Hunt.
Such a sad day. Ethan is saying, can we talk about something better than Majid? Okay. Yeah, Anas is saying, any idea what the statistics are for COVID in Tower Hamlets? Ethan is saying Redbridge is very close to a local lockdown. Shaik is saying, EasyTalk, is this really EasyTalk, bro? It sounds like a PPP up game. I don't know, PlayStation game? I don't know. Samyad is saying, just give everyone an electric vehicle. That's good. Congestion charge.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, electric vehicles. Barrister. You think you're a barrister or something? Yeah, bro, it is massive. Let's not forget it's called the congestion charge, but no longer has all to do with congestion with these new charges. It should now rightly be called a central Lindon toll. Why Lindon?
No, Shahid is right. Shahid is right. You know what it is? It's so funny because sometimes when I'm cycling down into the city, and you know, it's like say 11 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the congestion is huge. Do you get it? It's like, and I'm thinking, look at that. All these people paid £15 to sit here in this traffic. Do you get it? So it's not working. It's not reducing congestion. And so it was never about congestion. It's about money. That's what it is. There's a rumor they're going to charge £2 to use Blackwall Tunnel.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That means we're not going to that shopping centre in Charlton anymore. You know, there's a really nice shopping centre just on the other side of the Black.
I've got a solution for you. You know what you do if you want to go shopping and not pay. You know, like not pay. Cycle it there, innit? Cycle it there, and put your solar bosta on your bike and your onion on your.
It's not that kind of shopping centre, Abdul.
Okay, put your wardrobe on there, or put the mattresses on your. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna very soon. You're gonna see cyclists with big carriers on the back. Yeah, you know, like you know. I mean, one of my argument is okay, fine. The congestion charge is to stop people with the cars and people move on to like other forms of transport. But you also got to bear in mind a lot of people use cars not just for commuting and going there. It's also transporting things in that. Yeah, I mean, look at the Bangladeshi or the Asian community, right? When we do our shopping here, right? We don't do small little mingy little shopping here, right? We do wholesale big shopping, and henceforth, I mean, can you imagine on the rush hour trying to take your 45 kg rice and your Mas Bazar fish onto the rush hour because you need to go home and you use the London transport? I mean, can you imagine the chaos you're going to create, trying to transport your groceries in that? Yeah. So I think, the congestion charge is good, but, it does hinder some essential elements of what we've got to do really. Yeah. And that's the only time I use my car.
Yeah. For shopping.
Yeah. For shopping. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? One of the discoveries of COVID lockdown is online shopping. It is really, really good. Online shopping. Abdul, all you do, you go online, either you download the app.
I know. I like it, and I've done it, but the big fish.
They can't do grocery shopping online.
Yeah, no, but these very nice men, they will deliver for you as well. Like
groceries.
Yeah.
No. Not listen. Kalam, look at us.
Yeah,
we're not English people.
No, but they deliver.
We're still Bangladeshi, yeah. We don't
over here in Essex,
we don't have a cabbage. We don't have a cabbage and an apple and a leek as our vegetable.
No, I'm gonna name drop here because we're not restricted by Advertising Standard Association, whatever you call it. Maybe we are. Producer may like mute me, but I have a grocery. It's called Grocery Hut. Yeah, just off the A12 on Cranbrook Road. Yeah, wicked. So you call them up and you say, "Ami, amare dugi dibani, amare frozen khatolor bisi dibani, ami hathora sairam, amare fasta baby chicken dibani," and they give it, and they deliver it at the end of the day, evening. They go around delivering your food.
Okay.
And it's good quality stuff. You tell them, bala baisa bala dekya dibani. Look, pick the good ones, brother, and then he'll give it to you. Like Donya Fata, how much is it? He'll say, "Oh, is it pasta? No, coriander is two bags for £1. Yeah, I'll have some of that." And then they deliver it at the end of the evening.
Well, that's interesting.
Okay, that might be just for you, but most places they don't do that. So I think there's still a need. And personally, I like to go and see what I'm buying.
I mean, look at Cannon Street.
I don't buy. If COVID is back, it's not going to be possible. So I'm just telling the people out there, my experiences. These businesses have to innovate and come to the new age, the new normal, innit? They can't expect the uncle behind the till to like, oh go 55 number boy na iso in tandeshun dorekla ilish mas khatya deo. No, it's not going to happen like that. It has to be like done and delivered to the door because people aren't going to be able to come out. And if they can do that, if they can transform their business slightly, maybe they'll survive this economic downturn that they're going to be facing because of COVID. Another tip.
Yeah, go on.
So one more tip. If you get groceries from those big supermarkets, say you get strawberries, and what you should do is call them up and say, my strawberries, they got damaged in the delivery, or the apple's bruised, or the bread's become deformed. They give you a refund, bro.
So that's how Kalam afforded his haircut.
Yeah. Thank you, grapes, and no.
Kalam, your Bengali is shoddy.
Who said that?
Ethan Hunt. Possible man can speak better Bengali than you.
Let me speak to Ethan. Shada bhai, tor naam to Shada, kintu tor kopal Shada nai. Ami kubi bala Bengali matte pari.
Why are you touching the back of your head when you say copper? Oh my God. You just embarrassed yourself, man. Drop it. Okay. Let's move the conversation on. I think we've done the congestion charge to death and transport to death. What was the other thing we wanted to raise? Okay, so the other thing I actually wanted to this online beef that's going on with Yaqeen Institute and Daniel Hakikaju and others and everything else. So I don't know if you guys been following it. I followed it right at the beginning, and now I'm just bored of it. But it raises an important kind of question, which is how do we deal with living as a minority in the West and dealing with the situations that we're facing, and also maintaining the principles of our religion and not conflating it and confusing it for other people.
Okay, so very, very interesting question, and it's uncharted territory really, because we're in this new age and new challenges and all that. But and excuse me, but Dr. Tariq Ramadan, back in the days when Dr. Tariq Ramadan he wrote a book called To Be a European Muslim, right? And a couple of books thereafter. Obviously, those two books, but To Be a European Muslim is an amazing book, because what he does is he just puts down certain principles that we need to abide by or hold fast to in order to, number one, maintain our Islamic identity and be deeply rooted in our tradition, yet be able to embrace some of the culture and norms of the lands that we're in. So to be European and comfortable in our Europeanness, and to be Muslim and very rooted in our Islamic identity. And one of the points that he mentioned is part of being a citizen in any Western democratic country should be this concept of being a critical friend. Being a critical citizen, meaning a citizen is somebody who wants the best for his home, his people, but the best for his people may be something that they don't necessarily want to hear or something that they don't necessarily agree with. So how then to translate that so that slowly but surely you're having inroads in their understanding of what you're trying to say? I think where Daniel Hakikatu, whatever his name is, Daniel, and I think Sheikh Abu Isa Ni'matullah put a really nice post about learning from different people, even if you disagree with them. So he's not telling people to stay away from Daniel completely, but what he's saying is, look, he's going so far out that he's going to quite a dangerous place now, condemning everybody and everything and conflating issues and making things seem black and white when they're not actually black and white, when they're a little bit more complex. But what I think they're trying to do, with LGBTQ whatever and some other issues, it's a correct point, but the way that they're articulating it perhaps isn't isn't the best. And on the other side, some of the judgments of some of these scholars and activists are well intended, but it's not correct according to Sharia. Like you can't be a Muslim and be blessed from a Christian priest for whatever reason. That's not allowed. You can't be a Muslim and have strong conviction in your belief system and get blessings from a Christian priest, like the official blessings with water. That's not allowed. You can't do that. Not for sharing a common platform or sharing a common stand on a periphery issue. You can join in there. You can go and meet in their places of worship. You can congratulate them on their days of celebration, whatever, according to some. But you can't receive their religious blessing. That's
you can't. Absolutely. No, I think that's I mean, Sheikh's put in there, like, why do you see yourself as a minority and not a citizen? We do see ourselves as citizens, but even as citizens, you're still a minority in your ethnicity and everything else, which brings other challenges. And I think, unless we are honest and open about all of these things, we're always going to make the wrong kind of choice and decision, and disastrous. A lot of it is, as you can see, like, if you look at the politics of Asian people, it's just Labour Party. It's just blind following of a party, just a party that has actually hurt the Muslim community more than the Conservatives. Actually, if you look at it in a proper sense, but Muslims and Bengalis and Pakistanis, they're in droves. They always support Labour, which is very problematic. But if you don't understand your land of the land that you're living in, you are going to cause problems. I think. I mean, I totally agree with what Kalam said. My also take on Daniel was that I think, whilst he is highlighting a very important thing, the method is always important. And I always say this: the ends do not justify the means. We have to have ways to deal and critique and give nasiha, ad-dinu nasiha at the end of the day, right? So we have to have the correct way of doing it. And as soon as you move away from that adab and everything else, there's no barakah in anything you do. And I can see this over time. Like, I can see right at the beginning, a lot of people were saying, this is a really important issue you're raising. It's actually important and we need to. But now I'm seeing people are just moving away and people are being very dismissive. So that Allah has taken all the barakah away because the methodology has gone to a place where it lacks adab and everything else. So I think, look, principles, like you said, Kalam, it's important on both sides and everything else. But it's the method that we do things. We have to really improve on that. There's no need for all of us to agree with everything, and we can critique each other. But once we start, getting, personal and attacking people and, just being un-Islamic, then there's no barakah in that at all. Right, brothers and sisters. So we are back. Inshallah, we're going to be back every week from now on, unless something major happens again. And just to say, like, it is going to be an hour show from 11 to 12, and we'll see if we can move it a little bit earlier. I think maybe start at 10:30. So we get a little bit more time, but we will let you know, inshallah, as we go along. Just before we do go, I did want to raise one more, just a quick issue, and let's see what you say. I mean, there was lots of things that I wanted to discuss about the Palestine, the UAE, and all of that stuff, but I'll leave that for now. But I mean, we're always talking about Islam and Muslims and dawah and everything else. One of the things, maybe it's just me, I could be totally wrong. One of the things I've noticed is that, the younger generation, when I'm saying younger, I'm talking about people between, say, the age of, say, 16 to 25, that age bracket. I get to see quite a lot of these people in different settings, but their interests, when it comes to the deen, their interests, it reminds me of how my interest was when I was that age as well. But their interest when it comes to kind of the world or say politics or the state of our kind of world, the environment and everything else is actually at a better level. It's more informed than it was at definitely when I was at that age. I didn't care about the world. I didn't even know anything about the environment, and politics. Well, stay away from all of that. So do you think, that this is, do you guys notice that as well? Or is it just, I'm just seeing a few people, that young people are actually now a lot more informed than they used to be, maybe in our days?
Yeah, no, I would agree, because they've got access to information in various different sources, and and they are very informed. You have to speak to some of the little kids as well. They'll tell you about some of the stuff about the environment. Maybe the school curriculum is helping them, working for them. But teenagers, they've got access to a lot of the information, and they're very quick to kind of like check things up as well. It all depends on how people have encouraged and motivated them. But in generally, I can see that there is a very, very positive sign of like young people accessing information. But likewise, they sometimes also access maybe the wrong information as well. But generally, yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man. I just think they're still as dumb as they've always been, in it. These young kids, to be honest with you.
But the problem is we tend to see the minority, the smaller percentage, and that percentage kind of like colors us, and then what we do, we think of all young people the same way. I don't think that is correct. I think there's a lot of young people who are very intelligent, very clever. They've got access to the modern technology.
Whatever you say, yeah, but generally they're dumber than we were, right? Can I just say how? Let me just tell you how. Look, when I went to GCSE, right, the only motivation for study I got, was my dad's stick, mate. Yeah. Innit? Yeah, for thinny. Like, hey, do you want to go read or what? And then now we send them to Saturday school, after school clubs, get a tutoring, and still they can't get the A stars. What's going on? Everybody agrees. It's not politically correct to say it, but everybody agrees, isn't it? They're still not the intellectual level of us. Never. Our generation. We had something different.
No, the difference is, I think this younger generation is definitely, I think, much more informed. It has more access to information. As Ethan mentioned there, social media has played a very big role. But what's lacking is, I think, there's a element of honor that is missing from young people. So what I mean by that is, as time has gone along, we're seeing that the haya isn't there, the honor isn't there, the kind of just being self-reflective, just being kind of aware of
what it is, Azabah, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
See, when we were growing up, our cultural framework was set by our parents, right? Which was for us, it was a subcontinent is Muslim country, dominant Muslim country cultural framework. And therefore, respect your parents, don't answer back to your uncles, don't smoke in front of the elders, X, Y, and Z. Say salam, say assalamu alaikum to people when they come, when families come over, serve them whatever you've got. All of those cultural underpinnings we were taught, because that's what our parents knew, right? Now the parents of the children who are growing up is like, well, when somebody comes, make sure you say hi, and all that. The fitri training that we got, because our parents just came from a Muslim environment, and therefore their ethical framework was more closer to the fitra. That's gone, and so our kids at home, they're not getting fitri knowledge.
And that our fault then, Kalam.
It is. It's the parents' fault. No, not my kids like
No. Yeah, I'm just saying ours as in general. So we're not pointing at anyone.
It's their fault. You know why? It's their fault. You know why? Because they didn't bother learning Islam. Their parents didn't bother teaching them Islam. Now their parents, they don't know Islam.
No,
because
but it's
they didn't.
normalizing. There's so much normalizing going on of so many different things. I mean, just I don't want to be vulgar or anything else, but like say, you know, haya, like sharam, you know, that element is gone now. Why? Because you have now families. Back in the day, you know, just even watching an Indian film, when a song came on, a romantic song came on, you know, you left the room because it was got so embarrassing, right? You know, because of all the
There
internet.
was no remote in it. If you
Yeah,
wanted to, you'd have to go to the video recorder and press that button, and then
yeah.
you can see how far you're going ahead.
Yeah. So you had to do that. You either do that or you walk out the room, right? But now it's normalized to the point where it's actually, you know, people sit around the television and it's all normal. But not only that, it's like they're normalizing. You know, what I was shocked by was how many Muslims actually watch programs like Game of Thrones and things like that. Do you get it? If you look at what the content of these programs are, you know, it's like unbelievable. But they're willing to sit through this and rate this program really high and everything else. And yeah, just skip that. You know, you just ignore it. Yeah, you just pretend it's not. No, it's not. Subconsciously, it's having an effect. It's actually normalizing it for you. And so when you see it in society, you don't actually get shocked by it, and so you accept it. So you know that Netflix film, I think it's called Cuties or something like that. You know, where they're getting, you know, I think like 12-year-olds or 11-year-olds, you know, doing like
On Netflix.
yeah. So I can't remember what it was all about, but you know, it's a lot of people saying it's just like normalizing pedophilia and things like that. So what you have is like, you know, this stuff is going is. This is where I think is the so whilst I see a lot of the good in the young people that I already, you know, we discussed, the harm that I see in the young people is this bit here, where I see them actually normalizing all of this stuff. And what's going to happen is, and you know this is going to happen, just like, you know the sun rises on the east, right? Is that their children are going to be in a society where all of this stuff is normal and it's going to become mainstream and practice. And look how far away from the deen it's going to take people.
No, but yeah, and I completely agree with you. And what the point that I was trying to make is that if you want to save your children, and we've said this already several times on various shows, but it never harms to remind that if you want to save your children and if you want to give them the best chance in life, you have to start giving them tarbiyah. Now, tarbiyah is an Arabic word, which the root word of it is Rabb. Yeah, it comes from the root word Rabb, which means Lord and fashioner and provider, the one who educates. So it's about educating your children from a young age. And I think, you know, we forget that firstly, education comes from being a role model to your children. So you have to be the change you want to see in your children. You want your children to learn the Quran, you have to learn the Quran. You want them to love Islam, you have to love Islam. You want them to pray, you have to pray. You want them to stay away from haram, you have to stay away from it yourself. Your children will then see the change that you want them to have and then they'll try and improve it. Secondly, you have to engage with them on a level where you're their friends, you're their dad, you're their teacher, you know, so they come to you for stuff and they don't go to their teachers at school or whatever, because you know you're controlling what they're learning. And thirdly, you have to start them on a structured learning program, whether it's in madrasa, whether it's at home. There are so many resources out there. Go to any Islamic bookshop and you've got syllabus of Islamic education. You need to do that. If you don't, then they won't have any Islamic rooting. And if they don't have Islamic rooting, then whatever they hear, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِ فَاسْنَ مَا شِئْتَ. Rasulullah said, if you have no shame, then do whatever you want. When shame and haya and all that goes from the kid, because it's not been inculcated from a young age, they will do whatever they want or whatever they see, whatever is prevalent in society. And we don't want that, because society is heading in a direction that many people are resisting, but the wave is so strong, it's taking them downstream. We can only survive this deluge if only we cling to our religion and teach our religion to our kids. And that's not happening. Fundamentally, we're failing our children because we're not giving them an Islamic upbringing and not providing them with tarbiyah.
Yeah, no, spot on. Okay, so we've actually come to the end for our time. Abdul, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, no. I think totally right. I mean, we are against the current, and it is a test of coming to this planet, isn't it? I mean, before we came to this planet, we said we're going to do our best. We're going to pass the test, and now we're on the planet, and you're going to have serious tests, and we just got to get through and pass it. Very quickly, just before we finish, I was going to ask the brothers: are you brothers going to be watching Mulan?
No.
Why not?
Because they filmed in East Turkestan, Uyghurs, and kind of normalizing it. Yeah, cinema, Disney, and China. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, no, that's you passed the test here, because now you know what, it's going to get blasted into our living rooms and that, because obviously because the cinemas, everything are closed. Disney is using a different way to actually spread that, and I just want people to know the background to it, and I think people should consider like understand what's going on here, basically. Yeah, that's that one. Second one I want to raise before everyone goes, do you brothers know what's the best way, when you do your COVID, the testing with the
swab?
No, with the temperature testing.
No, that's the temperature measure thing. Yeah.
Do you know how many ways you can test the temperature?
With a thermometer?
No, with the gun. Yeah. How do you do it?
On your forehead.
Okay, on the forehead. Where else can you do it?
On the ears, in the ears.
Ears,
okay. Yeah, and it's very powerful on the wrist. Okay, so I went to my primary school. The wrist, yeah. Yep. Okay, so that's more stronger and powerful. So me and my colleague went to a masjid to pray. Okay, so when I got to tell you this story before I finished, because I learned something quite new. I didn't know this myself. Yeah, we went to a masjid to pray Jummah, and obviously we're all lining up and we're all getting shot in the head. All of us lined up. I should have took a video of it, right? Like everyone lining up. They go to the security and bang, like shot in the head here, right? So this brother goes along, and this security brother wants to shoot him in the head, and the brother goes, "Sorry, you can't do that. Yeah, you got to ask me. Do I want it on my forehead or do I want it on my wrist?" And the security brother had no clue that it could be done on the wrist as well. Yeah, and this brother particularly made that point in the nicest way, but the security brother took an offense to that and started raising his voice and saying, "Oh, look at this brother. He's not complying. He's not like standing in the queue. He wants to cause a bit of nuisance and everything." Yeah. And caused a bit of a scene, and I kind of watched it, and I thought, "Wow, what's going on here?" And I myself didn't know that yet, so I then went to the brother who kind of like politely said, "Look, you don't have to do it on my head. There's another place you can do it." And I asked him, "Why? Why did you not allow it on the head?" He goes, "Well, the public people are being normalized. Our kids are being normalized by like doing it in that way. Where there's an option and it's better, why can we not use that one?" That's what I said to him. And then I went to my primary school to drop my boy off, and guess what the teacher said at the primary school? He goes, "Do you want it on the forehead or do you want it on the wrist?" So my son did Spider-Man, and the teacher then the teacher done it on the wrist. I think a lot of people don't know that. So if people want to exercise at their choice, you choose the best one: forehead, being shot there, or you can have it on the wrist as well.
You can also do your armpits, but I wouldn't recommend that for everyone. No, you can have the armpits, yeah. You put on the armpits, they shoot it, but I wouldn't recommend that one.
Yeah. Kalam, stop watching Indian films, yeah.
But talking about like Indian films, there's a connection there, Azabah. Thank you very much. Indian films, songs, and dance. Like, I'd advise everybody to go on YouTube, watch a diversity dance, there'd be a Black Lives Matter dance, and write to ITV and say it was an amazing performance, and we don't agree with the 10,000 racists in the UK complaining about it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to actually Google that and find out. Right, brothers and sisters, Jazakumullah khair for joining us. So inshallah we will see you next week. we'll let you know. We might start a little bit earlier, so because Esha is come a lot earlier now, so and that way we can actually finish. Get another half an hour's discussion. I know sometimes we're rushing things, so inshallah you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next Friday. Look out on our Facebook page or Instagram. We'll give you the exact timings. It'll either be 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Anything else, brothers, or should we just say salam to everyone?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
There you go.